Mirko is one fine hero, and I'm so glad that she's not the trap in this chapter. But as for Dr. Ujiko, well, heroes,
It's a trap!
What's up? It's Truth Hero, and welcome back to another My Hero Academia chapter review. So Boku no Hero Academia chapter 260 of the manga. We'll discuss everything from the beginning of the hospital raid to Dr. Ujiko's ability to preserve quirks for a long time and all the implications of this, as well as the future of our bunny hero, Mirko. Let's dive in. The chapter opens where it left off, with Endeavor and Eraser storming into the hospital and confronting Dr. Ujiko. It has Aizawa tripping him up in his scarf and looking at him to cancel his quirk. And just by staring at him, the doctor ages quite a bit. Now, before I read the dialogue, I had originally thought that, oh, this is just Dr. Ujiko getting nervous, pale in the face, and terrified out of his mind because he's just been confronted by the #1 hero and probably going to get arrested. So it makes sense that he's caught off guard and almost trembling. But what we learn from Tsukauchi, the police chief, is very interesting. Not only does Dr. Ujiko have a quirk, he's able to share it with other people and even duplicate it. What? Contrary to what his census data might tell us, Dr. Ujiko seems to possess some sort of regeneration quirk. And not only this, regeneration quirks are extremely rare and even unusual. This explains why many of the nomu we've seen throughout the series have this ability to heal. Wait, what? But if this quirk is so rare, how do so many of the nomu that we've seen in the series, even just the anime alone, have Dr. Ujiko's abilities? I mean, we know the nomu are comprised of poor criminals, law-abiding citizens, and even pro-heroes' quirks, so what gives? Dr. Ujiko actually has biomedical technologies that can store and preserve quirks for some time in jars, which can then be used later to give nomu or someone like Shigaraki their contents. This is a game changer. We know All For One can take quirks for himself and can force a quirk onto someone, but nothing like this. Up until this point, we've always known that All For One can't just take a quirk, put it in his pocket and save it for later, and then give it to someone he meets down the line. He's always had to be on the scene and touching the person or people that he's transferring quirks to. But now we know he can. With Dr. Ujiko's technology and ability to preserve quirks, he can take any quirk that he extracts or that All For One takes and save it for later. The quirks look to be stored in jars with a square object in the middle. Perhaps it's like a computer chip or even a block of DNA that can be later infused into a nomu or a person, like Dr. Ujiko's masterpiece Shigaraki, thus giving them the ability stored in that DNA. I'm getting serious Akira vibes from this, but what do you guys think about these jars and these preservation of quirks? How do you think they work exactly? Comment below. This idea of not only taking quirks, but also saving and preserving them for later, opens up a huge can of evil worms for All For One and Dr. Ujiko. They probably gave these quirks to their subordinates and duplicated the very best ones, especially if they took them from pro heroes. But what about selling them? All For One must have made some money in his time as the Dark Emperor, so it's not out of the question now to think that Dr. Ujiko and All For One might have set up the first illegal quirk trade. Selling and even buying quirks from people that didn't want theirs on the black market. It just goes to show that there's a whole nother layer of evil to these two. But also, Dr. Ujiko, how much for one of these quirk vials? Just asking for a friend. Also, if you look at the end of this chapter, Dr. Ujiko has hundreds of these vials on the wall. Correction, he had hundreds until Mirko kicked down that door. But before we discuss that, can I first holla about my boy Present Mike? Present Mike gets really heated here. He asks Dr. Ujiko, if you have these regenerative and anti-aging abilities, if you have all this talent, why can't you use it to help people heal with medicine? Why do you have to use it for your twisted experiments? Answer me, old man. What he's really saying here is, why did you have to do this to my friend Shirakumo? Why did you have to dishonor his death like this? I want him back. The good news here is, for Present Mike at least, if the heroes are successful, then there's a chance that the nomu of Kurogiri can be broken apart, and they can get Shirakumo's body back and save that unfortunate other person who was used to make Kurogiri. Also, there's a chance that they could capture nomu and maybe with Ares powers, restore them all. Aizawa is also moved by emotions here, but instead of tears like we've seen in the past, he's all business. On behalf of all the dead you've desecrated, we're taking everything from you. Boss. The hero's plan is pretty smart. They plan to capture Dr. Ujiko so that there's no puppeteer who pulls the strings of the nomu, because without that person in charge, they're just mindless. And Dr. Ujiko's like, no, don't take everything from me. Release me. Release. And boom! We get our first wave of nomu crashing through this wall, and Dr. Ujiko starts to melt. That's right, it was a twice clone all along.
It's a trap!
I love this. I love that the villains had this. I mean, they have to outsmart the heroes just a little bit. It's not going to be an easy raid arc, and to show that the villains are competent and not just waiting for the heroes to come and arrest them, this is crucial that they have multiple plans and they know stuff about the heroes as well. Also, it makes sense because there are some heroes aligned with the Paranormal Liberation Front. It'll show us that, there will be twists and turns to this arc, and really, it still asks us, who really has the jump on who? Who will be betrayed in the end? What side is Hawks on? We still don't know, and we're going to be left wondering up until the conclusion of this arc. As Dr. Ujiko is disappearing, or the clone of him, he says something very important. He says, thanks to all you heroes, I now know that if Aizawa looks at one of the twice clones, it doesn't make it disappear, it just cancels the quirk that clone is using. Some of you were thinking that when Twice inevitably clones himself and creates an army of himself, that Aizawa could just look out onto the battlefield and cancel all the clones. Well, we now know that that cannot happen. I still do wonder though if Aizawa can look at the original Twice, and then what would happen to his clones. Food for thought. Bunny Hero Mirko is shown kicking the crap out of these nomu. Whether or not they're activated, we don't know, but her kicks are very impressive. The way she smashes, I'd like to smash. No, I like the way she smashes. Wait, when she's kicking the nomu in the walls and... The real Dr. Ujiko is then shown in front of his masterpiece Shigaraki, who's in the same type of vat as the high-end nomus. And he's reminiscing. He's saying, oh man, these heroes are fast. All my life's work. Do you know how long it takes to even preserve one quirk and how much money it takes and effort? My entire life's goal, serving all for one, all these great years, have all been in this laboratory. But alas, I must leave now. John-chan, it's time to go. Activate teleportation and get me and Shigaraki the hell out of here. Mirko smashes through the last wall and invades Dr. Ujiko's laboratory, and say goodbye to all those quirks that were in jars. This makes me a bit sad because you could have used them to help people that were turned into nomu or given to people that don't have quirks, but it's more important right now to capture the doctor and fight these nomu. Also, again, this scene just reminds me of the end of Akira where all the test tubes shatter. Nice vibes, Horikoshi. When Mirko actually breaks through this wall, she crushes John-chan under the debris. He just goes, squeak!
Help me, master.
John-chan, may you rest in peace. You were a real one. But like, damn! Mirko threw that wall down on John-chan harder than that boulder on Shirakumo. Too soon? Alright. But shout out to whoever commented on Reddit. You're a savage. Mirko confronts Dr. Ujiko and says, you're the real one, right? I'm excited to see more of Mirko in action. However, given the amount of nomu in this room that could possibly come to life, I feel like she's still walking into a trap, and I hope that Endeavor and some top tier heroes are right behind her. But now that John-chan is down for the count, and Dr. Ujiko has no way of instantly getting him or Shigaraki out of there, does this mean that Shigaraki will actually be captured in his sedated state before his transformation is over? I'm curious to see what you guys think will actually happen in the next chapter with Shigaraki still sleeping. Or could Dr. Ujiko actually awaken Shigaraki before his transformation is complete? This would be risky, but at the same time, even with Shigaraki just having his decay quirk and just waking up from this power nap or struggle that he's been in for the past few months, he could do a lot of damage to the heroes. Also, it's quite apparent now that given the fact that Dr. Ujiko can preserve quirks in these vials, as well as the fact that he can duplicate his own quirk of regeneration, whatever specific quirk that may be, Shigaraki will not only be unaging or immortal, but he'll also have access to any quirk he wants in the entire world, basically that a pro hero doesn't have. So I'm wondering, how does this all go down, and what quirks will Shigaraki actually have when he does awaken from this transformation, even if it is a little bit too early? Quite a short chapter, but let me know what you guys think. Is this still totally a trap for all the heroes? How will Miruko handle this, and what quirks is Shigaraki getting, whether or not he wakes up in the next chapter? Comment below. If you like My Hero Academia content and these chapter reviews, consider enrolling at UA today by subscribing, and click that bell so you're never late for class. Until next time, plus ultra.
Squeak! Help me, master. Help. I can't get up.
I'm so weird.